Hi, this is Joe again with another review. For saying this video, which will be my first review in 2019, I'm going to review the movie, the 1983 film Psycho 2, starring Anthony Perkins, Vera Miles, and Robert Loggia. Of course, it is a sequel to the 1960 film Psycho, starring Anthony Perkins and Vera Miles, and of course with Janet Leigh and John Gavin. Excuse me. But I should mention that other than Anthony Perkins reprising his role as Norman Bates, the only other actor who appeared in the original movie comes back and plays in the sequel was Vera Miles, who of course played the character Lila Crane, who was Marion Crane's sister, because Marion was played by Janet Leigh in the original film. Now they're going to bring Janet Leigh back because Norman, killed her in the first film. But they had one of her sister, played by Vera Miles, and she reprises her role. But it also the movie also stars Meg Tilly. I should also mention in a prominent role, which I'm going to get into. Because this movie does take place 23 years after the original, or it came out 23 years later. But the problem with that is that, which is the one real major nitpick, is the fact that they keep changing the years. And how long the Norman was locked up in the funny form, because he had a split personality with his mother, and after killing his mother, he developed a split personality. And he was in the sense, after he killed Mary, Janet Leigh's character, he also killed a private investigator. He also killed 2 other young girls. And there wasn't shown in the original film, but the psychiatrist mentions it at the end of the original film Psycho. So after he committed his murders, he was in prison. He was found not guilty for reason of insanity, and he was locked up in a funny form in a sanitarium and a mental hospital for 23 years. The problem is they keep changing it. Like I just said, they keep changing the numbers. Several times they mentioned 20 years. Someone said 22 years. Normally said keep saying 22 years. But technically, it was 23 years. Because the Psycho 2 came out in 1983, 23 years after the original film. So I don't know why they couldn't say 23 years in prison. I don't know why they keep flipping the numbers like that throughout the course of this film. Anyway, he gets released, and there's Lila Loomis now. Because what mentioned in the film is that Lila, Marion's sister, married Sam Loomis. Of course, Sam Loomis was the Marion's boyfriend in the original Psycho. It was played by John Gavin. And over the course of the 20-some years, 23 years between the 2 films, Lila married Sam and had a daughter, played by Meg Tilly. And what she didn't know until about 3/4 of the way through the film, that Meg Tilly was actually, her character was the daughter of Lila Crane. And I'm going to get into that stuff. Because Lila was protesting that he shouldn't be let out. That he committed all these murders, he killed my sister, he did all this other stuff, committed other murders, committed at least 4 murders, and he should be tried for murder. And the DA and the judge says to her, look, he already was tried and was found not guilty by insanity, and he was locked up in the institution, in the asylum, for all these years. And that was his jail. That was his prison term, being in prison for all these years. And he says you should not let him free. You should let him stay in there for the rest of his life. And the judge says, look, I got a psychiatrist report. He's been cured of his split personality. I'm letting him go. And of course, Marion throws a fit. And here's a petition that everybody in Fairville sign. It says, the judge says, I don't care about the petitions. Petitions are not binding here in the court. In this hearing, they're not binding. They said, yeah, but he killed all these people. Yeah, and she kept repeating it. And so what Lila Loomis decided to do was, throughout the rest of the film, go on this crusade to drive Norman crazy and to make him be a killer again. And I kind of figured out that it was her, because you saw Lionel Crane in the beginning of the film, and then you don't see it until about 3/4 of the way through the film, when it's revealed that she's the one who's driving Norman crazy. So I figured, I thought she just in the beginning, and to connect this, I thought she only did like the one scene. Because once before I saw the movie, but I just saw the beginning of it, and didn't see where the rest of the movie went. And recently, just watched it just last night on New Year's Eve. I watched the movie, and so I thought that you never saw her again. I think it was just to connect Psycho 2 with the original, but bringing back River Miles, a character from the original film. That's what I thought they did. But then you had all this other crazy shit, which I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. So what happened was, the psychiatrist and the state board who was supervising his release, set him up as a job at a local diner that's near to the base motel. And during the time that Norman was been locked up, his motel was being run by Dennis Franz, who I think at that time was on Hill Street Blues at that time, I think. And he's been running the motel, and he made it into like what I call an adults only motel. When he has porn in the house, pornography in the rooms. In the early days of VCRs, this is '83, and selling drugs in the motel to the guests, and get a little more excited, and all that sort of thing. It's like this guy was like a complete pervert, the Dennis Franz character. And of course Norman, when Norman found out what he was up to, despite the fact that Norman was crazy, he never dealt with drugs. So he kicked Dennis Franz out of the motel, fires him, so we're going to have someone else to run the motel. And so while Norman was there trying to fix up the motel, Dennis Franz's character was harassing a waitress that Norman was working with, and having to be Meg Tilly character. Like I said earlier, she's supposed to be the daughter of Lila Crane, which Norman didn't know. But none of us did, so about 3/4 way through the film, who she actually was. And Norman finds out like little tip-offs, like little notes from his and so Norman, because at one point Norman invites Meg Tilly's character to stay in the motel because she got kicked, allegedly got kicked out. But she was living with a girlfriend at first, and the girlfriend kicks her out, and don't have anywhere to stay. So Norman said, "Oh, why don't you stay with me?" And of course, little by little, there was like little notes and phone calls, from Norman's mother, and he was slowly doing it and said, "Oh my God," and he goes, "Oh my God, this stuff's happening again," yada yada yada. And then the person who was making the phone calls was Lila Crane. Drive him crazy. Now, the thing that bothered me was, it was a good plot twist. The problem was that in the original movie, I didn't think that she was capable of doing that. She just wanted the person responsible for killing her sister and finding out what happened, and that he should have been in jail. I can understand him not being in jail or being released. That I can understand her being mad about. But trying him crazy so he can go back to jail on the asylum. She should have been arrested for that stuff, but unfortunately she did. She gets killed. Major spoiler for those of you who didn't see the movie. She does get killed, and so does his daughter, or I should say her daughter, gets killed. And of course, there was a running bit throughout this movie. They say, "Oh, that's not my real mother who's been calling me." And Norman's saying, "No, that's not my real mother." And the psychiatrist, Baby Robert Loggia, before he also gets killed. Robert Loggia says, "What do you mean your real mother?" They said, "You mean you were adopted?" And he says, "Yeah, I think I was." And then, of course, you find out after everything that's happened, and I find out that was in cahoots with that Lila and her daughter was the ones conspiring to drive Norman nuts, and that looks like they both killed each other and stuff. And I find out that she was killed by Meg Tilly, because both of them were really dressing up as Norman's mother, and they accidentally, killed each other and stuff. And they found out that Lila's daughter, Mary, went nuts and really immersed herself into the mother character, and she got, accidentally killed each other and stuff. So the cops let him go because the sheriff was pretty sympathetic to Norman's plight. He was trying to get himself better, trying to train himself out, and he did so for over 20 years. Let's leave him alone and see if he could redeem himself. And when he found out all this crazy stuff was going on, the sheriff let everything go and arrested, the people who were charged the people who were responsible for this stuff. And then what happened was, another worker at the diner that Norman was working in throughout the first part of the film comes to visit Norman, and she admits to Norman that I'm actually your mother, and that Norma Bates, the mother that Norman, the mother that Norman killed, was my sister, and she took you from me because I was pregnant. I killed the guy who got me pregnant, and I was in the asylum when you were like 2 years old, so Norma took you in. And then, if I knew that she was going to abuse you like that, I wouldn't leave you with her and all that stuff. And when she was telling Norman the story, Norman picks up a shovel and whacks her and kills her. And this woman is now the new mother, the dead body in the house, preserving the body and stuff, like he did his actual mother, which would be the third film, which I'm getting hammered myself in the third film. But I thought that this movie was pretty good. It kept up the tension. By the way, in case you're wondering why I'm not mentioning Sam Loomis, the Sam Loomis character was played by John Gavin in the original film, because Lionel Crane said that he had died. He just passed away. So because he just passed away, now I have time to go after Norman and to make sure that he does not get out. And that's what was sort of inspiration for the whole film, really. But Psycho 2, I thought was a pretty good, decent follow-up to the original film. But it really is like an unnecessary sequel. True, you'd want to know what happens to Norman if he ever gets out of the asylum and stuff. But other than that, I think it's good for what it is. I mean, I did like the film. I thought it was good. I thought it was weird. Not as good as the original, of course. But it felt like an interesting little close everything up. But since Psycho 2 was fairly successful, they made a third one. And that's what I'm going and that's what I'm going to review next. So this is my review. To close off this video, this is my review of Psycho 2. Please click on the video, please rate it. Please subscribe to my channel, and please forward this video to your Facebook pages. You can check out all my reviews and all on my YouTube channel at rowdyc.com, that's WDY, c.com, that's a homepage of Rowdy Reviewer, Chris Lee Moore, and please check out all my reviews all of his videos on his website as well. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time, and Happy New Year, everybody.